A human mechanic revives an abandoned colossal starship. Now the galaxy fears it. The asteroid field stretched endlessly, a chaotic maze of jagged rocks and floating debris. Stars glittered beyond the rocky walls, but their beauty was lost on Eli Harper. He had flown these parts countless times, scavenging for scrap and salvage that others deemed useless. Most pilots avoided this area. Some whispered it was cursed. But to Eli, it was full of opportunity. Eli's small craft, the Star Runner, zipped between massive asteroids. Its engines hummed in the cold vacuum of space. Eli's hands worked quickly at the control panel, adjusting shields and scanning equipment. He had learned to trust his instincts. In a field like this, one wrong move could crush a ship into dust. Come on, Eli muttered, peering at the readings on his scanner. A faint signal caught his attention. It was weak, but different from the usual metal debris he usually found. He adjusted the sensors, narrowing in on the source. It was enormous. The asteroid ahead split, revealing a shadowed shape that did not belong. Its hull was scarred and rusted, but its size was unimaginable. It was bigger than any ship Eli had ever seen. Even from a distance, its bulk seemed to dominate the asteroid field, casting dark shadows across the smaller rocks. Eli's heart pounded. He had found many abandoned ships in his career, but nothing like this. He slowed the Star Runner, holding position a safe distance away. "Wow, you've been hiding a long time, haven't you?" he whispered. The ship was colossal, a floating city of metal. Panels were missing, lights were dead, and several massive engines hung lifeless at the rear. Yet, despite its ruin, it radiated power. There was something alive in it, though Eli could not explain what. He pulled out his portable scanner and began a detailed sweep. The readings were unusual. Energy levels were almost nil, but the structure seemed intact. "You're not totally dead," Eli said with a grin. "Just sleeping." As he circled the ship in his craft, Eli noticed alien symbols etched along the hull. He had seen similar markings before in the old galactic libraries, but only in fragments. Whoever built this ship had done so with knowledge and technology far beyond anything current civilizations had. This was a relic of a past era, something the galaxy had forgotten, or maybe something it wanted to forget. Eli's curiosity was more than professional. Something about the ship called to him. It was as if it wanted to be found. He decided to approach. Slowly, carefully, he piloted the Star Runner to one of the massive airlocks. His tools were ready, and his mind was racing with possibilities. What if he could repair it? What if it could fly again? The thought made his pulse quicken. The airlock was enormous. Eli estimated it could fit 10 of his craft side by side. He ran a series of scans, then cautiously opened it. A hiss of depressurization echoed faintly, though no alarm sounded. The interior was dark, coated in dust and debris. His flashlight beam swept over walls that were lined with unfamiliar technology. "This is unbelievable," he said aloud, stepping into the empty corridor. Every footstep echoed. The corridors were huge, taller than most starship hangars he had worked in. Panels hung loosely, wires dangling like vines. But even in disrepair, the ship had a sense of grandeur. As Eli explored, he noticed a central control room. He moved toward it with cautious excitement. The doors were massive, designed to seal the entire ship in an emergency. He placed his hand on the control panel and scanned the locking mechanism. It was old, but the system hummed faintly. Something was alive inside. Eli took a deep breath. "Here goes nothing." He forced the doors open. Dust and the smell of old metal filled the room. The control room was vast, with consoles stretching for hundreds of meters. Screens flickered weakly, and some lights blinked intermittently. At the center of the room was a massive chair, like a throne, facing a huge panoramic window. Beyond it, the asteroid field stretched endlessly. The room was silent, yet Eli felt the presence of something enormous. Watching, he approached one of the consoles. Data ports and strange interfaces covered it. Eli was skilled with all kinds of technology, but this was unlike anything he had seen. Alien symbols flashed faintly, then dimmed. He tapped a few panels. Sparks flew. Then the screens flickered brighter. The ship was responding. Eli felt a thrill unlike anything before. "You're alive, aren't you?" he whispered. And in that moment he felt the ship react. Not consciously, not in a way he could understand, but a subtle vibration ran through the floor. A heartbeat that was mechanical, but almost sentient. For hours, Eli explored the ship. He moved from room to room, finding enormous engine cores, vast living quarters, and storage areas the size of entire human colonies. Each discovery was more astounding than the last. This ship was not just big, it was a floating world. As he worked, Eli realized the scope of the task ahead. Repairing it would not be simple. It was ancient, and its technology was alien. Yet he also realized he was the first being to step inside this ship in centuries, maybe millennia. It had been abandoned, left to drift, waiting for someone who could understand it. Eli set up his tools. He began repairing minor systems, relinking wires, patching panels, and slowly bringing power back to sections of the ship. Every small success made the ship hum more strongly, and Eli felt a connection growing. He was not just fixing a machine, he was awakening it. Outside, other vessels passed through the asteroid field from time to time, but none dared approach. Rumors of the giant sleeping ship had spread, though no one had seen it up close. Some alien factions sent scouts hoping to claim it, but they reported strange energy fields and withdrew. Eli was the only one brave or foolish enough to explore it fully. Night passed, or what counted as night in the endless black of space, and Eli finally paused. He floated in zero gravity, looking out at the vast ship and the glittering stars beyond. The task ahead was enormous, but for the first time in his life he felt truly alive. "This is just the beginning," he said softly. "I'll bring you back, and then we'll see what you can really do." He set up a small workspace in one of the corridors where he could rest and plan. For now, the ship was still mostly dormant, but he felt a pulse, a faint recognition, as if the vessel understood he was there for a reason. As he drifted off to sleep in the quiet of the ship, a thought crossed his mind. The galaxy might not be ready for what he was about to awaken, but Eli didn't care. He had found something extraordinary, and he knew that no one else in the galaxy had the patience, the skill, or the heart to do what he was about to do. Outside, the stars shone silently, and somewhere deep within the colossal hull the ship stirred, its massive systems slowly flickering to life, as if sensing the presence of the one being capable of restoring it. Eli Harper had found a forgotten giant, and for the first time in centuries, the ship was no longer alone. Eli Harper woke to the gentle hum of the colossal ship. The sound was almost musical, like a heartbeat hidden deep inside a giant metal chest. He rubbed his eyes, floating in zero gravity inside the makeshift sleeping area he had set up in one of the long corridors. The ship was vast, its enormity both exciting and intimidating. Every time he moved a few meters, it felt like exploring a city rather than a ship. Today, Eli had a plan. He had spent the last day scanning systems and understanding the alien technology. He knew that some parts of the ship could be revived with his human tools, while other parts required patience, observation, and creativity. He glanced at the panels he had repaired yesterday. Faint green lights glowed where they had been dead before. This was progress. "Okay, let's see if we can wake you up a little more," he murmured, floating toward the nearest engine core. The engines were massive, stretching across a section of the ship almost as long as a small craft. They were dormant now, but the outer shell still held faint energy traces. Eli carefully connected diagnostic modules and began analyzing the alien interface. Symbols flashed on the screen, changing faster than he could read, but patterns emerged. Some symbols corresponded to energy flow, others to mechanical functions. Slowly, he began tracing lines, linking components with human logic. Hours passed as Eli worked. He moved from console to console, gently coaxing small systems back to life. Lights flickered, and sometimes panels clicked open on their own. Then, something extraordinary happened. A holographic interface bloomed in the air, projecting a three-dimensional map of the ship. It showed rooms, corridors, and compartments in perfect detail. Eli's eyes widened. "It's showing itself to me," he whispered. "You can see I'm helping you." The holographic lights danced across his face. Then, as if responding, a soft mechanical voice spoke. It was low, calm, and deep, echoing slightly in the immense control room. "Who approaches the silent halls?" Eli froze, his hands hovering above the console. I'm Eli Harper. I'm a mechanic. I found you abandoned." His voice sounded small in the vastness of the control room. A pause. Then the voice spoke again, curious this time, almost amused. "A human? You touch the systems with understanding, not recklessness. Why do you disturb the quiet?" Eli swallowed. Because I think you can still fly. I think you're not broken. You just need someone who cares." There was silence. Then the voice spoke again, softer. "Care is a rare quality. Few beings come with such intent." Eli smiled, even though he felt a thrill of fear. "I'll do what I can. I'll fix you if you let me." The voice paused again, then emitted a low hum, vibrating through the floor beneath him. Lights in the control room pulsed in time with the hum. "Then we begin," it said. For the next several hours, or what counted as hours in the drifting asteroid field, Eli worked in tandem with the ship. Every time he repaired a panel, adjusted a wire, or rerouted a power line, the ship responded. Engines hummed faintly. Life support systems flickered to life, and more lights blinked on in the dark corridors. The ship's consciousness, vast and slow to trust, was awakening. As he floated through the corridors, Eli noticed a change. Rooms that had been dark were now softly illuminated. Holographic interfaces projected alien writing and diagrams that he could not yet fully understand, but the symbols seemed to respond to his presence. It was as if the ship was learning from him, studying him as much as he was studying it. At one point he entered the main engine chamber. The core was enormous, a glowing lattice of alien energy conduits. He placed his hand near a control panel and carefully aligned a series of power relays. Sparks danced and hissed in the zero-gravity environment. Then the core pulsed with energy, a soft blue glow filling the chamber. A vibration ran through the metal floor, almost like a sigh of relief. "I think you'll like that," Eli said, chuckling. "You're starting to wake up." The voice of the ship returned, now more confident, almost warm. "Your touch, it is different. Others would have torn me apart seeking power. You respect the silence." Eli floated back toward the control room. "I'm not like the others. I don't care about size or weapons. I care about how things work, and, maybe, about what they can become." The ship hummed in agreement, and a new holographic projection appeared in the air. It showed a galaxy map, stars, and planets connected by lines of energy flow. Eli realized it was the ship's navigation system, intact and operational. The ship's memory was immense, containing data on locations, resources, and unknown systems far beyond current human knowledge. "This is incredible," Eli whispered. "You know so much I can't even imagine what's out there." The ship's voice was quieter now, thoughtful. "I remember the worlds that once called me home. The conflicts, the alliances, The mistakes, all forgotten. You, human, may be the first to guide me toward new purpose. Eli felt a thrill. He was not just repairing a ship. He was connecting with a being that had existed for centuries, perhaps longer. The idea was almost overwhelming, but he stayed focused. He began organizing a systematic plan to revive more of the ship's systems, starting with life support, propulsion, and communications. He worked tirelessly, floating through corridors, adjusting alien technology with a mixture of human ingenuity and careful observation. Sometimes, the ship responded in ways he did not understand. Doors opened on their own, lights shifted colors, and strange hums pulsed through the hull. It was alive, not just as a machine, but almost like a thinking entity. Late in what would have been a day, Eli took a break in the observation lounge. From the panoramic window, the asteroid field stretched endlessly. He sipped a small container of nutrient gel, staring out at the stars. He realized how lonely the ship must have been, drifting in silence for centuries. He had awakened it, yes, but he had also given it a companion for the first time in generations. The ship spoke softly, almost contemplatively. You bring warmth to a cold hull. This companionship is unfamiliar but welcome. I guess we'll figure it out together, step by step. Suddenly, a faint alert flashed on one of the restored panels. Eli turned quickly. The sensors showed movement outside the ship, among the asteroids. Small craft, scanning the ship, curious or cautious. Eli's pulse quickened. He knew these ships. They belonged to scavengers, explorers, and sometimes less friendly factions. None had the courage to enter this field before. Why now? He took a deep breath. Don't worry, we'll handle this, he said, more to himself than to the ship. The ship responded, hums and pulses vibrating through the floor. I am aware. Let us observe first, before action. Eli realized something remarkable. The ship could act, think, and make decisions. Even without fully powered systems, it trusted him enough to collaborate, and now it was ready to protect itself in its own way. Hours later, Eli resumed work. He floated through the hangars, reconnecting dormant engines, repairing broken conduits, and restoring communication systems. Slowly, the ship began to hum with life. The corridors glowed, the systems pulsed, and the massive engines vibrated faintly with potential energy. Eli could feel it in his bones. The ship was awakening. The ship's voice returned, now more confident, almost joyful. Human, your presence has given me motion. Soon, I will see the stars again under my own power. Eli grinned, his excitement nearly uncontrollable. We'll get there, don't worry. Step by step, he floated back to the control room, exhausted but exhilarated. From the massive chair in the center, he gazed out at the stars. He had found a forgotten giant, and together, they were beginning to awaken a legend. Somewhere deep within the colossal hull, systems that had been dormant for centuries now stirred with energy and awareness. Lights flickered, engines hummed, and alien symbols glowed with renewed life. Eli had done the impossible. He had begun the revival of a ship the galaxy thought was lost forever. And somewhere in the dark void beyond the asteroid field, other ships paused, sensing the faint pulse of life returning to the Colossal Starship. Rumors of the sleeping giant had been whispered before, but now the giant was waking. Eli Harper, the human mechanic, smiled. We're just getting started. Eli Harper floated in the control room, staring at the holographic galaxy map projected in front of him. The colossal starship thrummed softly beneath his hands, its systems alive and humming with energy. Life support, navigation, and engines were fully restored. Some weapon systems were still offline, but Eli had never intended to use them. This ship was not meant for war. It was meant to be revived, to explore, and to help. For weeks he had been carefully repairing, reconnecting, and understanding the alien systems. The ship had grown accustomed to his presence. The AI, which he had affectionately begun calling Titan, communicated with him almost daily. It was slow, deliberate, and thoughtful. Titan remembered the stars, the ancient colonies it had served, and the conflicts it had witnessed. Yet, with Eli, it was learning something new: patience, trust, and cooperation. But the galaxy had noticed. It started with faint energy readings. Nearby systems detected fluctuations that did not match any known ships. Rumors spread quickly among the trading stations and outposts. Whispers of a giant ship, larger than any fleet, traveling through the asteroid belts reached merchants, explorers, and even the Galactic Council. Some laughed it off as exaggeration, while others grew cautious. Then came the scouts. Small vessels began appearing at the edges of the asteroid field, sleek alien ships observing from a distance. Eli detected them almost immediately. "Visitors," he said calmly to Titan. "I don't think they're hostile yet." Titan's hum pulsed softly. "Their curiosity, it is palpable. They sense a presence unusual in the void." Eli nodded. He had expected this. In a galaxy filled with ambitious factions, news of a colossal revived starship would not stay secret for long. He floated toward the observation lounge and peered out. Tiny dots moved through the asteroid field, scouts keeping a cautious distance, watching, analyzing. "Let's show them what we can do," Eli said, carefully. He guided Titan through a demonstration. First, they activated the ship's lights and energy shields. Panels along the hull illuminated, revealing the ship's massive size. Energy flowed smoothly through conduits visible from the outside, and the shield shimmered faintly, a protective bubble larger than some moons. The scouts paused, sending data back to their commanders. Next, Eli powered up the engines for a controlled sequence. Titan vibrated gently beneath his hands, as if excited. The ship rotated, showing its vast hull from multiple angles. The scouts recorded every movement. Their sensors confirmed it was no ordinary ship. They had never seen anything of this scale, let alone functioning after centuries of abandonment. Finally, Eli guided Titan to demonstrate its utility. The colossal hangars opened, revealing empty bays, repair stations, and storage rooms. He maneuvered a small shuttle from inside the ship to retrieve a damaged satellite floating nearby. Using Titan's systems, he repaired the satellite and returned it to orbit. The scouts watched silently, recording every detail. "It's amazing," one of the alien scout commanders murmured over comms. "I've never seen such precision and care in a single crew. And the size, incredible." But with amazement came fear. Rumors spread across the galaxy. A colossal revived ship, capable of incredible power, had been awakened by a human. Some factions speculated it was a weapon of unimaginable force. Others wondered if Eli intended to dominate entire systems. Fear traveled faster than the truth. Eli knew he had to act carefully. He couldn't let misunderstanding turn into conflict. Over the next few days, he sent messages of peaceful intent to nearby outposts, explaining that the ship was not armed, that it was being restored for exploration and aid. Some accepted the message, others ignored it, choosing to observe from a distance. Meanwhile, Eli continued his work aboard Titan. He explored deeper into the ship, discovering rooms and systems he had not yet accessed. The AI shared knowledge slowly, revealing histories of ancient colonies, star routes forgotten by current civilizations, and resource caches in remote systems. Eli realized Titan's memory was a treasure trove. He could map entire sectors of the galaxy with this ship. One day, a new signal appeared, a request for communication from a distant research colony. The colony had detected Titan's activity and wanted to understand its purpose. Eli guided the ship to extend a communication array. Holographic displays projected a message across the void, showing the colony representatives in real time. Eli spoke with them, explaining carefully. This ship is ancient. It was abandoned, forgotten, for centuries. I've been restoring it not for war, but to help the galaxy. If we find damaged stations, derelict satellites, or places in need of repair, Titan can assist. The colony representatives were astonished. A human restored a ship of this scale? And it is operational? Eli nodded. Yes, we're just beginning. There's a lot we can do to help. News spread slowly, and over weeks, more colonies and outposts began sending requests. Titan moved carefully from system to system, assisting with repairs, moving supplies, and even helping scientists reach distant asteroids safely. Every time the ship performed a helpful act, more of the galaxy began to see the human and the Colossal Starship as a force for good. But fear lingered. Some factions were not convinced. They continued to send scouts, sending warnings, and some even prepared fleets. Eli knew he could not avoid the attention forever. At some point, he would have to confront the galaxy's curiosity and suspicion directly. He spent time training a small crew of humans and friendly aliens. Together, they learned to operate Titan systems. They discovered ways to interface with alien technology quickly, using a combination of human ingenuity and Titan's guidance. For the first time, Eli saw something incredible. A small cooperative crew working in harmony with a giant starship, bridging species and technology in a way the galaxy had never seen. Late one day, Eli floated to the observation lounge and looked out at the stars. He could see distant ships approaching cautiously, sensors active, their pilots trying to understand what they were witnessing. Titan hummed beside him. "They're curious," Eli said softly, "and some are afraid. But if we show them what we're capable of, not just our size, but our intent, maybe they'll understand." The ship responded with a low musical hum. "Understanding, it is a path few choose, but your patience, your care, it may guide them." Eli smiled. "We'll guide them, one step at a time. That's what we do best." The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Titan moved through the asteroid field with surprising agility for its size. Eli demonstrated the ship's capabilities, repairing damaged stations, recovering lost cargo, and providing aid to colonies in remote systems. Every act of assistance was carefully observed by distant fleets. Slowly, suspicion began to shift toward cautious respect. Yet Eli knew that the galaxy's full attention would soon be inevitable. Whispers of the giant revived by a human were reaching the council. Leaders were debating, commanders were preparing, and rumors continued to inflate Titan's capabilities into legends of invincibility. Some even spoke of the human as a potential warlord, though Eli's actions had been peaceful. Eli understood the challenge. He could not control the rumors, only his actions. He continued to act with patience, care, and skill. Every repair completed, every life saved, every system restored reinforced his message. Titan was not a weapon, it was a gift to the galaxy, and the human behind it was not seeking power, only understanding and restoration. One evening, Eli received a message from a distant system requesting urgent assistance. A research station's orbiting satellites had malfunctioned, threatening to fall onto a nearby planet. Eli guided Titan carefully, using the ship's massive manipulators to stabilize the satellites. The operation was precise, almost delicate despite the ship's colossal size. By the time the mission was complete, news of Titan's helpfulness spread further, reaching even skeptical factions. Eli floated in the control room, exhausted but satisfied. He looked at Titan and smiled. "We're making progress. They're starting to see what we're really about." Titan responded with a gentle hum, almost like a sigh of relief. "They will learn. But you must continue to guide, carefully. Fear will not vanish easily." Ellie nodded. "I know, but we've already shown them more than anyone else could have. One day, they'll respect what we've done. And until then, we keep moving, Keep helping, and keep showing them the truth. The galaxy was watching. Some with hope, some with fear. But Eli Harper and Titan were ready. Together they were no longer just a mechanic and a ship. They were a symbol of what could be achieved when human ingenuity met ancient technology, when patience met understanding, and when one human dared to revive something the galaxy had thought lost forever. And in the quiet hum of Titan's corridors, Eli felt something extraordinary, a sense of purpose that stretched beyond the stars, beyond fear, beyond doubt. They were ready for whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. The colossal starship drifted silently in the void, its hull gleaming faintly under the distant light of a dying star. Eli Harper floated through the observation lounge, watching small scout vessels arrive from multiple systems. This time, it wasn't just curiosity. The galaxy's leaders had noticed, and they wanted answers. The message had arrived weeks ago. A galactic summit had been convened, not on a neutral station as usual, but aboard Titan itself. Representatives from dozens of civilizations would arrive. Some were curious, some cautious, and some openly skeptical. Eli had spent days preparing. Titan systems were optimized, every corridor cleaned and operational. For the first time, the ship's massive engines glowed with readiness, but Eli had no plans to show aggression. "This is it," he said to Titan. "They want to see what we've done. Let's show them who we really are." The ship responded with a deep, resonant hum. "Understood, human. We shall proceed with caution and transparency." The first delegations arrived. Small craft docked gently, guided by Titan's automated systems. Representatives floated into the enormous hangars, their eyes wide at the scale of the ship. Some had expected fearsome weapons and deadly defenses. Instead, they found orderly corridors, repair stations, and a human mechanic floating calmly among them. Eli greeted the first delegates. "Welcome aboard Titan. This is a ship of peace and exploration. Everything you see here has been restored with care, not for war, but to help the galaxy." One of the alien leaders, tall and feathered, tilted their head. "Your words are unusual. We were told this ship is a weapon of unimaginable power." Eli shook his head. "It could be a weapon, yes, but I've chosen another path. This ship is a tool to repair, protect, and explore. We've already helped several colonies, repaired satellites, and moved supplies safely. That's what we intend to continue doing." A murmur passed through the assembled delegates. Some were surprised. Others were skeptical. Eli knew that actions, not words, would convince them. He guided them through the ship. The delegates saw the colossal engines, now humming with energy but dormant in their power for safety. They walked through repair bays, observing automated systems fixing derelict satellites and damaged drones. Holographic maps displayed distant star systems and trade routes, along with the precise locations of stations needing aid. "This is incredible," a representative said. "You have restored something that no one else could." Eli nodded. "It took time, patience, and understanding. The ship isn't mine. It's ancient, and it belongs to the galaxy. I'm just helping it find a new purpose." As they continued, Titan activated an interface that projected historical records of the civilizations it had served long ago. Ancient star routes, long-forgotten colonies, and maps of resources appeared in holographic brilliance. Delegates gasped. For some, it was proof of the galaxy's lost history. For others, it was a demonstration of the ship's incredible potential. Finally, Eli guided the delegates to the observation deck. From there, they could see the entire star field stretching into the void. Titan's massive hull reflected the starlight, and its systems pulsed gently with life. "I want you to understand something," Eli said, floating slightly above the floor. "This ship could dominate fleets, yes, but it doesn't have to. It can help. It can rebuild. It can explore. That's what we've chosen to do." A moment of silence followed. Delegates exchanged glances, some nodding slowly. Slowly the mood shifted from fear to understanding. Then, A young human engineer stepped forward. "I've been with Eli for weeks," she said. "I've seen what he's done. Titan isn't just alive. It responds to care, attention, and respect. That's a lesson the galaxy could learn." A tall, armored alien leaned forward. "You mean to say this human restored a ship of unimaginable scale without using it as a weapon?" "Yes," Eli said simply. "We didn't need to. The galaxy has enough conflict. I want to show that cooperation, ingenuity, and patience are stronger than fear or aggression." Another murmur passed through the assembly. Some delegates whispered to one another. Others quietly recorded the demonstration. Slowly, respect began to replace suspicion. The colossal ship once feared now became a symbol of possibility. Titan's AI spoke for the first time in full, its voice deep and resonant. "Delegates of the galaxy, you observe a being that has awakened me not for conquest, but for renewal. You witness a human who has chosen creation over destruction. Judge not by size or potential for power, but by intent and action. Respect is earned, and today you may see how it is given freely." A profound silence followed. Then the delegates nodded one by one. Some extended hands or appendages in acknowledgement. Others transmitted messages of acceptance back to their home systems. Eli felt a sense of relief and pride. Titan's revival was not just mechanical, it was symbolic. The summit continued over the next several days. Delegates toured the ship, learning about its systems, its capabilities, and its potential. Eli guided them patiently, answering questions, explaining repairs, and demonstrating operations that were entirely peaceful. Titan itself showed subtle movements in response to Eli's guidance, demonstrating its trust and intelligence. By the end of the summit, the delegates had reached a consensus. Titan would not be feared. It would be recognized as a galaxy-wide resource for repair, exploration, and knowledge. Eli's human ingenuity and patience were formally acknowledged. For the first time, a human mechanic had earned the respect of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through skill, vision, and care. When the last delegates departed, Ellie floated through the quiet corridors of Titan, exhausted but happy. The ship hummed softly beneath him. "You did well," Titan said, its voice carrying warmth for the first time. "They understand. Fear has been replaced by respect." Ellie smiled. "We did it together. You taught me patience. I hope I taught you trust." Titan's systems pulsed gently. "You have. And together we shall continue to show the galaxy what is possible when intent is guided by understanding rather than fear." Eli looked out the observation window at the endless expanse of stars. For centuries, Titan had drifted in silence, forgotten and abandoned. Now, it was alive again, ready to serve, explore, and assist. And alongside it, a human who had dared to believe in something greater than himself. He felt a swell of pride. The galaxy had feared the colossal starship. Now, it respected it. And Eli knew this was only the beginning. There were countless systems in need, forgotten satellites, derelict stations, and distant colonies. With Titan's capabilities and human ingenuity guiding it, there was no limit to what they could accomplish. Eli floated to the main control room, gazing at the glowing panels and holographic maps. "Ready for the next mission?" he asked. Titan's hum grew louder, resonating through the hull like a joyful purr. "Always, human. The galaxy awaits." Eli chuckled softly. "Then let's not keep it waiting." And together, human and starship moved forward, leaving a trail of wonder, respect, and inspiration across the stars. The colossal vessel, once abandoned and feared, now stood as a monument to what humanity could achieve. Intelligence, patience, and care turned into a legacy the entire galaxy would never forget. For Eli Harper, mechanic of a forgotten giant, the stars had become a playground of endless possibility. And for the galaxy, The human who revived the colossal starship had become a symbol of ingenuity, hope, and the power of peaceful action.